Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 4 episode 6, The Doctor's Daughter. I honestly don't know what to do with this one. I really honestly don't. This is the first time I actually don't know what to do with an episode. Because there are bits that I like and there are bits that I don't know if they work. I don't know if on a critical level if they work or not. I'm not actually sure. This one's not a very popular story. But there are some people who do like it. Maybe it's me just thinking maybe I'd annoy people if I gave it a good review. But at the same time, there's also part of me thinking, but would it deserve a good review, to be honest? It's probably the one I have the hardest one to review of the Russell T Davies era. Because there are ones that I know that I like or love, and there are some that I thought they were okay. I mean, there aren't ones I consider bad. Even Fear Her I thought was okay. Meh, I enjoyed it, which is an unpopular opinion, but even that one I thought was alright. So there wasn't really any Russell T Davies era stories that I don't like. It's probably the most solid era of the show as a whole, considering that. But Doctor's Daughter, I just actually don't know what to do with this one. I really don't know what to do. Maybe if we go through it, we might be able to try and work out what's up. So, the plot sees the Doctor, Donna, and Martha forced to the planet Miscellane by the TARDIS to arrive just in time for the Doctor to be processed by some humans to have a piece of his medical something, a bit of his DNA taken from him, and makes him it makes a soldier from his DNA, which ultimately means that he's now got a child, a daughter to be precise, called Jenny, as they call her later on. And it's genetically created soldiers that they can have an army, and they've created many of these generations of soldiers to fight against their rivals, the Hath. And the Hath are basically these are actually pretty cool designs. These fish creature, half human, half fish creatures. They're pretty cool design. And they're basically at war with each other. I'll explain why later. But they've probably forgotten why they're fighting. All they care about is winning, especially the humans, led by General Cobb, who is honestly the least likable character of any new series story so far. Or at least he's one of those characters I consider those characters, those people, the Chancellor Autons of the Monster Peladons of the story. The ones I just really dislike just for the fact that I just don't like them. They're not necessarily annoying, although that could be part of their traits, but he's definitely one that riles you up. Or at least it riles me up anyway. But all he cares about is fucking winning. He's one of those idiotic soldiers who doesn't care about peace. At first he will talk about peace, and the next minute he's talking about genocide. And he just cares about winning and getting... he doesn't really care about anything else. Winning and getting the source, whatever this is. Which ultimately means he's actually a pretty one-dimensional character, to be honest. But he's also a very dislikable one-dimensional character. At least Donna in Runaway Bride had some likability to her, and thankfully she got more 3D development over Series 4. But even some other 1D characters have at least had some element of likability, like Rickson Slade. At least he was fun to watch, despite being a prick. But this guy is just... no. I wouldn't have minded Jenny shooting him in the tunnels if she decided, actually, yeah, I will kill him, instead of opting to shoot the valve above him and the green gas going down, or green smoke rather. I wouldn't have minded if she had shot him there and then. That would be absolutely fine with me. But yeah, he's a dick. His second in command's not so bad, but he is a bit of a trigger happy guy. Though he is redeemed later on. Anyway, the Doctor accidentally gives them a way to get to the find the source, but because they are so so intent on fighting, they ignore his pleas to stop fight, to not just not fight, just make peace, and to show their gratitude, they lock them up. Idiots. Meanwhile, Martha has been taken captive by the Hath. However, they treat her more of a guest than a prisoner, and actually kind of sort of love her, I suppose. Really, I guess they know she's not a normal human. So, well, a normal human, yes, but not one that's fighting them. So they're not too worried. And they eventually see what the Doctor's done when he's accidentally activated the map on the Hath side as well as the human side. I don't know how that works, but still. But anyway, the Hath go off to war, and Martha and Half Peck decide to go across the surface to get there quicker to avoid any difficulties. Meanwhile, the Doctor, Donna, and Jenny escape and head down the tunnels to avoid Cobb and his men quickly, and have to get past these laser things, which the Doctor and Donna manage to get past, but then they come back quickly, and Jenny has to gymnastic flip through them in a way that Lady Christina de Souza from the upcoming Planet of the Dead Easter special later down the line would be jealous of. She probably wants to have those sort of moves to get past those sort of lasers. Well, less deadly lasers, to be honest. And also, whilst we're going through this story, Donna keeps seeing these numbers, and she's trying to work out what's going on. And once they get inside the temple, which turns out to be the ship used by the first colonists, she works out what's going on. Everything that happened within a week. The days have been going backwards, I think, or four. I think I'm not quite sure exactly. 7 days since the colonists arrived, that the city was built out by drones. And after apparently the war started due to the commander dying, I think, and the Hath and the humans couldn't decide who should take charge, so they split into factions, and that's how the war started. It's pretty petty, to be honest. It's pretty pathetic. The twist about the days isn't so bad, but I don't know. I'm not really sure about this. I mean, I suppose, and the writer can tell whatever type of story they want. And anyway, the Doctor and friends find the source and persuade the humans in the Hath to lay down their weapons, and it turns out the source is an ecosystem for the planet, and they just use it to make the planet better. Of course, General Cobb, being the bastard he is, he tries to shoot the Doctor, and then Jenny gets in the way and gets the bullet for him. We have the Doctor and Jenny throughout the story. I thought there was a connection. I thought there was chemistry. But I don't know if it was enough for an emotional ending at the very end. I think there could have been a bit more. Maybe if Jenny was a lot more like the Doctor, as they say that she was. Maybe she acted a bit like the Doctor, a bit more. Not necessarily the 10th Doctor, just any of the Doctors. She just loves the running and the excitement and the adventure, but that's really about it. That could be. You could swap her out. You could swap the fact that she's his daughter for the fact that she's his niece or cousin or another random stray that he picked up off the streets. Sorry, companions. But you could swap her out with any family relation or any friend or association relation, and it wouldn't make any difference, apart from the fact that she's grown in the machine and learnt to fight as a soldier. But despite a great performance by Georgia Moffat, I don't think there is a huge connection between the two, which means the emotional ending doesn't quite land. Also, I think this story is a bit stuffed. I know that's more of a complaint for the Whittaker era, or specifically Series 12. But this story does feel like it's juggling about 3 storylines at once. For starters, you've got the whole war plot on Messaline. Second of all, the Dr. Jenny stuff. And thirdly, Martha's there for some reason, and she's got her own subplot. So, yeah, I don't think this story really needed Martha. I think it's great to have Frim Rajman and Martha back for another episode. But, after the Sontaran 2-parter and before the series finale. But she wasn't needed for this specific episode. I don't think this one really needed her. Not really. It's just more stuff to do, and I don't think you needed it. The only thing we get it benefits from is having a human in the Hath camp and befriending a Hath or two. But that's really about it. She doesn't really do an awful lot to contribute to the story, which is a shame because I love Martha Jones and I love Frim Rajman, but she really doesn't do that much here. And even Donna, when she's not looking at the numbers, isn't really that helpful. But yeah, we're juggling three plots. If we cut the Martha stuff, perhaps there'd be more time for the Doctor and Jenny to get acquainted. Maybe we can have a bit more personal attachment. It does feel like we are lacking a little bit of an emotional edge with the Doctor and Jenny, just a little bit. I mean, there are father and daughter, but there is some sort of a detachment that the audience isn't feeling. I also want to mention that I think Half Peck, Martha's befriended half friend, is his death is so unnecessary. It's so unfair on that character. I didn't even adore that character. I didn't even feel that much for the character. But him just drowning in that bog, saving her life, it was a sacrifice. But it was totally unfair on that half. He didn't have to die, or at least not like that. That was unfair. That was cruel. That was cruel, and it wasn't even a character I was attached to. It was just cruel. It was even crueler than Mr. Van Hoff's in Voyage of the Damned. I think they could have kept Half Peck around a little bit longer. Maybe he could have sacrificed himself at the temple. Maybe I don't know, but I think what we got there was just so mean and it was just mean spirited. He wasn't even a character I was that particularly invested in. I've always felt this way about this, but it's just unfair on this character, and especially now, it just feels unnecessary after this rewatch. It doesn't work. He should have stuck around a little bit longer. Yeah, I don't really like that bit. It's not because I cared for the character. I just felt it was unnecessary. In the end, the Doctor explains that the reason the TARDIS brought them to Miss Elaine was because paradox. Jenny was a paradox, and they were brought there to sort it out or something, but they arrived a bit too early, so that they created her in the first place. This is so contrived. This is such a contrived reason to bring the Doctor and companions, Martha and Donna, to Miss Elaine. Just again, if Martha wasn't here, they could have just landed at their own accord. It was just the Doctor and Donna. They would have landed at their own accord. It's not that good of a revelation. They get a good goodbye scene with Martha, and then Jenny turns out to be alive, and she runs off to have her own Big Finish spin-off adventure. Well, a decade later, anyway. But yeah, well, the reason she survived, even because she can't regenerate, but she's given a new life by the Miss Elaine powers. So it's a bit of bit questionable, and yeah, I'm not quite sure if it works. I mean, I'm glad to see her still alive, even though we're not going to see her on screen again, although Big Finish and the comics will take up her story. But I don't know, does it quite work? Maybe if she did, maybe if it helped trigger a regeneration, she can keep the same body. Her father would do that in a few stories' time, but just still use up a regeneration anyway. But yeah, I'm not sure. It's because I'm not entirely sure with this story. It's just it's okay. The usual direction and production values are still pretty strong with this one, as they usually are with the new series. But I don't know. This one is just questionable. I don't really know if I can enjoy it as much. It's just a bit strange. I decided to settle with a 6 out of 10 for this story, just for the production values and the direction alone. But the story itself isn't that great. So I'm going to give The Doctor's Daughter a 6 out of 10. Yeah, it nearly was a 5, actually. It was very 50-50, but I think the direction and the production values and the acting, actually, the acting's really good, especially from Georgia Moffat as Jenny, and of course our main three characters, the Doctor, Donna, and Martha, played brilliantly by David Tennant, Catherine Tate, and Freem Raspberry, respectively. But I just don't know if the rest of the story quite works, and yeah, I'm not sure about this one. This is the Creature from the Pit of the new series at this point in time. The Creature from the Pit I kind of liked, but there was some issues with that. There was more good than bad in a season that was more meh to bad than meh to good. But I still liked more elements of it than I disliked, but it still came at a 6 out of 10 overall. And that's the same with this story. There are elements I like more than dislike, but ultimately it's still within the meh territory. And it's kind of disappointing that after four very strong stories this season, 5 if you can count Voyage of the Damned, and pretty much an entire season of strength after strength last series, even Daleks in Manhattan Evolution of the Daleks. And yeah, pretty much this is the weakest story since Fear Her. And even then, like I said, I did enjoy Fear Her to an extent, and this one is better than that. But after some really strong stories from Army of Ghosts Doomsday up to the Sontaran Stratagem, The Poison Sky, we've now got this, which is a story I don't know what to do with, or at least I didn't know what to do with, and I've settled on a just above equal score, just above 50-50. Like you said, there's slightly more good stuff here than not good, but not by a huge amount. That's why it's just about a 6, otherwise it could have been a 5. It might be my third least favourite story of the Russell T Davies era so far. I think actually New Earth is slightly above this one in my opinion, because that one I at least knew how to feel about it. So yeah, Doctor's Daughter is probably my third least favourite Russell T Davies era story at the moment. We'll see when we get to the end of time. But yeah, it's just alright. In places, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. And it's pretty much a shame that this story had to come this far into series 4. I mean, it's not the next half of the series, but considering we had such a strong start, one-upping series 3 in all but one case, this season opener, it's now gone down to New Earth territory and on the verge of Boomtown Fear Her territory. So that's not good. Hopefully, the rest of the series will resume to being like episodes 1 to 5 of this series and avoid going as meh as this story was. So thank you for watching this review, and I'll see you guys next time for The Unicorn and the Wasp. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. I think Fear Her at worst, it's probably the most solid era of the show, even more. And they've created many of these generations. Who is honestly the most dislikable character of the Russell T Davies and New Who series. The ones that I definitely find so freaking annoying in a dislike, and then Jenny has to do some gymnastic flips through them in in a way that even Lady Christina Lady Christina D'Souza of Planet of the Dead, in a way that Lady Christina D'Souza in Planet of the Dead. Or maybe we should have just done one or the other story arc. It does feel like the story is focusing on a few one thing. I've always felt that way, to be honest, about this character. He's not even one, like I said, I'm invested in this character, but maybe if he succumbed to the radiation, but maybe you sort of told Martha to keep going or something, that might have worked. But no, actually, I'll cut that bit. That doesn't quite work either. And this is so contrived. This is even more contrived reason than just the fact that Jenny was the reason. Full stop. This is such a contrived. But the story itself, it would have in a season where it was more meta bad than good to. And that's the same here. I like the story slightly more than I did. And it's actually kind of disappointing having this story almost slap back in the middle. Do you have to burp whilst I'm in the middle of a bloody sentence? And like I said, I sort of liked Fear Her, and I do consider this one better than that one. But like I said, there's slightly better stuff here. Like I said, there's slightly better stuff here than Weeks, because that one I at least got something out of. At least knew, because I at least knew what I was going. But at least with that one, and it's a shame that this story came here right when when this series. It's now gone back to Boomtown Fear Her territory almost. Well, New Earth technically. That is not good sign. So hopefully the other episodes of Series 4 will pick up the pace and return Series 4 to the glory that I was enjoying it, and reclaim the glory Series 4 episodes 1 to 5 had following this near dud. I say near dud, it just about missed being meh. That episode will hopefully the remaining episodes of Series 4 can pick up the oh, I've forgotten what I was saying now. Oh, fuck, never mind that. Hopefully the rest of the series can pick up the pace